All right, now let's talk about the third and final option, and yes, we saved the best for last, balanced dog training. The best dog trainers on the planet are in the balanced dog training category, and there's a reason why, and I think after you listen to this section, you'll be much more informed and understand why, point blank period, you cannot even begin to argue that balanced training is simply put the best way to train your dog. First and foremost, balanced training happens every day in our life, and it happens in every creature on the planet experiences some form of balanced training. Why? Because everything in life falls into what we call operant conditioning. I don't want to hurt your head on this one. I don't want to bring you all the way back to high school or college, but I'm going to make this fun and interesting. Simply put, every single creature on the planet at any point in its life, honestly, at any point given throughout the day and even minute to minute, any creature, humans, your dog, a wolf in the wild, your child at home is bouncing between the four quadrants. I'll explain them to you very quickly now. So here are the four quadrants. Positive punishment, positive reinforcement, negative punishment, and negative reinforcement. Every single thing that happens to you in your life or in your dog's life will fit into one of these four quadrants. It's really that simple. The only thing you have to understand, because the quadrants get a little confusing, is positive does not mean good. Positive simply means adding something. So it's like a math equation. Positive just means adding, negative means removing. So a positive punishment is the addition of something that creates a punishment in the dog. Whereas a positive reinforcement is the addition of something that will reinforce that behavior. So giving your dog a treat is considered a positive reinforcement. Giving your dog a correction is a positive punishment. Really quickly on the negatives. Negative, again, doesn't mean bad. It means taking something away. So if we refuse to give a dog a toy, or we take the toy away, that would be considered a negative punishment. If we take away pressure, like we're putting leash pressure on a dog and the dog does not like it, but the dog performs a task and we remove that pressure, it's a negative reinforcement. Next time you put pressure on that dog, it's more than likely going to do that behavior again in order to achieve the same desired outcome. I hope you followed that. If you didn't, go back and rewatch this section, but we're going to break it down even more simply for you. I'm just going to give you a day in the life of some human. We'll call it Frank. So Frank, just like you and I, probably has a job. And so Frank starts his day off with an alarm bell going off. His ringer on his phone, whatever it might be, it's going Unfortunately for Frank, he's starting his day in a negative reinforcement. What do I mean by that? He has this alarm that's nagging him. He wants it to go away, so he wakes up and turns off the alarm. In the process of either turning off the alarm or hitting the snooze button, he has made this annoying thing go away. Because it's gone away, he feels better about his life, right? That annoyance is gone. Things are already looking better because he's been able to turn off the alarm clock. Moving on, he hit the snooze button a few too many times. He's now running a little bit late to work. But because he's running late to work, this self-imposed punishment comes along, which is he can't make it to Starbucks and get his favorite mocha, choca, maca, frappuccino, whatever it might be. That is a negative punishment. Because he was running late through his own fault, he can't stop and get that frappuccino, so it's a negative punishment. The frappuccino was taken from him, or it was never even given to him, and therefore there's a punishment for being late. But now he's really racing to get to work on time. As he's trying to get to work on time, he breaks the speed limit. A police officer sees him do it, or he runs a stop sign. He gets pulled over, and because he broke the law, he's getting a ticket. That's a positive punishment. Something was given to him, positive, but he's punished. There's nothing positive about it. It was just the addition of a punisher that basically is telling Frank, stop speeding. But he does end up making it to work. He gets into work. The boss doesn't notice that he's late, no problem. But he's had a lot of stress on him these last few days because a project is due. But he turns in that project. The boss takes a look at it. The boss is so pleased with the work that Frank has done, the boss gives Frank a bonus. Positive reinforcement for a job well done. And so on and so forth goes the cycle of the operant conditioning chart that can happen to you at any point throughout the day. You can be bouncing around through the quadrants. In fact, I'm going to give you one more example with Frank that ties it all in how just one simple exercise or one project or one anything could actually have all four quadrants tied in together. What am I talking about? Because Frank turned in that project and he did a great job, his boss comes to him with a opportunity. The opportunity is this: hey Frank, I have a big important project that I would like to get done. If you get it done, and you get it done on time and on budget, I will give you a huge bonus. However, if you don't get it done on time, you're going to leave me no choice, Frank. I'm going to have to fire you. Furthermore, while you're working on the project, I'm going to be putting pressure on you and checking in with you daily to make sure you're hitting your particular quota or you're moving that project along in a timely manner. And because you're going to be working so hard on this project, you're maybe not going to be able to catch that football game on the weekends. You're not going to have as much time with your friends or family over the course of these next 2 weeks while you do the project. Let me recap all of that. If you do a good job, I'll get you a huge bonus, positive reinforcement. If you do a bad job, I'm going to fire you, positive punishment looming in the background. Let's avoid that, right? Escape and avoidance. I'm going to be looming over you every day, making sure you're doing the right thing, negative reinforcement. The boss is on top of you. You show the boss you're doing a good job. The boss gets off of you. And then, of course, negative punishment. There is a sacrifice. You will not have as much time with friends, family, or for yourself over the next 2 weeks. It's a slight negative punishment. But I will ask Frank, as I ask you, is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And the hope is that in the end, if you do what you're supposed to do, there will be a net positive. Yes, over the last 2 weeks, you didn't get a lot of sleep. Yes, there was extra stress. But boy, oh boy, was it all worth it in the end. I did a good job. I avoided getting fired. But more importantly, I got a bonus. I got a pay raise. And I just moved up and got a promotion in the business. This is just one project that encapsulates all four things. And you can see how it can be a great motivator. And we use this in our lives constantly. Working out is not fun, but the payoff at the end is great. Working for a boss that puts a lot of pressure on you is not fun, but if he's fair, and et cetera, there could be a reason to stay employed there because it's a net positive if things go the way they're supposed to go. And you can see how working in that operant conditioning chart can shape your behavior as a human. Now, let's move away from human and say, Garrett, what the hell does this have to do with dog training? Let's transfer it to, for instance, a dog. All right, let's use that. First thing in the morning, the dog has to pee. It's feeling that negative reinforcement pressure, meaning it's like, man, it's this nagging feeling, I gotta pee. What does it do to let you know it's gotta pee? It starts barking, whimpering, whining, maybe pawing at the back door. And that pawing at the back door is enough to annoy you. So the dog's negative reinforcement forces you to experience negative reinforcement, saying, man, I don't want to see the dog pee on my floor, and I'm tired of hearing it barking. Let me go ahead and open that back door. In the process of opening that back door, you feel relief, the dog goes outside and feels relief, and in short, you and the dog both learned that knocking at the back door means you better get up and do something because the dog has to go, and you feel better because the dog didn't pee in your house. You also feel better because the dog's not barking anymore, and the dog feels better because it's been able to express all the fluids, right? So we're starting out the day feeling better. It started a little uncomfortable, but we're already feeling better. Moving on. You want to take your dog out for a walk around the neighborhood. While you're at the front door, the dog is acting like a wild thing. It's spinning around, it's barking, it's jumping up, and you've learned that one of the methods of training would be we're not going to reward a bad behavior, so instead you ignore that behavior. And you ignore it, and you ignore it, and you ignore it. You simply will not do what the dog wants you to do, which is to put the leash on and open the door, because you're not going to reward the craziness. So instead, you withhold what the dog wants. You withhold putting the leash on, you withhold opening the door, and therefore you institute negative punishment. You say, basically to the dog, until you calm down and show me the behavior you want, you're not going to get what you want. What comes about is the dog finally calms down, it stops jumping, it sits still, hopefully. You put the leash on. Because it sits still, you want to go ahead and reward it. And so in the process of that, by the way, here comes one where it's a twofer. You're going to reward the dog for sitting and waiting, but as soon as you reward it, you open the door, the dog shoots out like a bat out of hell and goes trying to rip you down the stairs in the front of your house. In the process of doing that, you know better than to reward that behavior by going with the dog. So you stand put, the dog runs out of leash, and the dog receives a self-correction. So very quickly went from the positive reinforcement of sitting very quickly to a positive punishment of you run out of leash when you run out the door like that. It's not good for your health. Don't repeat that. It's bad for your health. But now that the dog's received that positive punishment, it's now slowed its motor. It's becoming more compliant and less impulse going on, and it's now starting to listen to you, being more obedient because it doesn't want to experience that pressure again. So now you're walking down the sidewalk and the dog is heeling next to you, paying attention to you, and while it's heeling, not pulling and paying attention to you, you pay it with food. Another positive reinforcement, and so on and so forth goes the cycle. So you can bounce around between all four quadrants within minutes, seconds of each other. You can bounce all four quadrants. It just depends what's happening in the moment. Now I'm going to give you an example from nature where all four quadrants could be involved in just the day-to-day life of, in this case, a wolf, right? Wolves are 99.9% same genetics as a dog, so not too different whatsoever. So here we go. The wolf wakes up and it's hungry. It has a gnawing pain in its stomach. It's a negative reinforcer saying, hey, you better go find some food. It doesn't feel good to have this pain. So the stomach talking to the dog, and so to the wolf, excuse me. So the wolf goes seeking food. Negative reinforcement is pushing the dog into action. I keep saying dog, but it's a wolf. You follow here. Negative reinforcement is pushing the wolf into action. So now the wolf is on the hunt. As it's hunting, it sees a deer, let's say. It goes to chase the deer, and it tries very hard to chase the deer, but the deer gets away. The wolf was not cunning enough. It was not fast enough. It didn't try hard enough to get that prey item, and it got away. Negative punishment happening right then and there. Mother Nature says, you didn't try hard enough. You don't get the food. Too bad for you. Trust me when I tell you, the next time that the wolf sees a deer, it's going to try even harder to get that deer. So, moving on, the wolf is hunting and looking. It's not seeing a deer, but oh, I see something there. It's a snake. That looks pretty good. Probably not as good as a deer, but let me go ahead and take a taste. You know, I'm so hungry right now. Let me go check that out. It goes to check out the snake. It's a rattlesnake, and the rattlesnake bites the wolf. Now, I don't know in real life if the wolf would die or not, but trust me when I tell you, if the wolf doesn't die from that rattlesnake bite, it's going to know very well going forward for the rest of its life, stay the hell away from rattlesnakes. It's not worth it. You go for a rattlesnake, it's going to bite you. It's going to deliver a whopper of positive punishment. It's going to add punishment to your life and tell you, don't do that again. So now it's learned to avoid snakes. Moving on, it sees another deer. It's learned all of its lessons. Stay away from snakes and try really hard to catch the deer when you have a chance. It chases down the deer, it gets the deer, it eats the deer. I know it's a very sad story, but the wolf is now enjoying positive reinforcement and getting rewarded for doing a job well done. You catch the deer, you get to eat it, and then that's just a day in the life of the wolf. All four quadrants being hit. All right, so we've given you plenty of examples of how all of these four quadrants are what we would consider balanced training. Takes place all day, every day, in the life of every single creature on the planet, point blank, period. We harness that concept and we employ it in a balanced training method. In short, it is the best of both worlds. It is natural, it is instinctual, it is how most of us raise our children. If you do good, you get paid. If you don't do good, you don't get paid. If you do bad, you get punished. If you stop doing bad, I'll stop punishing you, and so on and so forth. And we use this to shape behaviors. If you are not sold on balance training by now, I can't help you. I simply can't. It is the one and only way that we should be training dogs. Now, when we get into the deeper details, which happens in our courses, we can kind of slide along the spectrum between positive reinforcement, compulsion training, somewhere in the middle. Some dogs need to be more on this side of the scale. Other dogs will do better if you're on this side of the scale. But I will tell you, every dog at some point in its life needs the full spectrum. But it's just like children. Some children need to be a little harder on. Some children just naturally are better kids, and you don't need to be as hard on them. You're just simply pointing them in the right direction, but they're generally speaking better kids. It's the same with dogs. Some dogs are very eager to please, some dogs are less eager to please, and so on and so forth. There's so many different examples of personalities, but we now have the flexibility on this balanced dog training, or sometimes what we refer to as full spectrum dog training. Everything from A to Z, all colors of the rainbow. we and you and I together will decide, what does your dog need? Not just overall for the life of the dog, yes, but in the moment, moment to moment to moment, we will bounce around these quadrants, we will explore, and we will help shape the behaviors. That amazing dog of yours that's doing such a wonderful job healing gets paid right now, and 2 minutes later it jumps on freaking grandma and tries to hurt grandma, and so we need to stop that behavior. And we're constantly bouncing around, but that's the name of the game. We now have the flexibility to bounce around this entire spectrum of dog training and provide a dog that, guess what, results in a net positive throughout the day. Meaning, if you do something I don't want you to do, I will pressure you to do something better. The moment you start doing something better, which is kind of your only alternative because I've shaped it that way, I will pay you. And so pressure comes on, you do what I want you to do, pressure comes off, but because you're doing what I want you to do, I throw in a reward, and now when we compare that to the old compulsion style training, it results in a net positive. Every time we work together, good things will happen, and even if you make a mistake, no problem. I'm here to provide a guiding hand, to show you the proper way, to help you make the right decisions, and when you make the right decisions, only good things happen. And if you make the wrong decision, once again, I am there to let you know, put up those barriers and say, stop making those bad decisions, continue to make the good decisions, and that's it. That's how it goes, and that's how we're able to get dogs to not only be excited to be there, happy to train, getting paid for being there, but also unbelievably reliable because they know there are consequences for failure to comply. And this is a beautifully balanced dog. A dog that, again, is happy to be there, but will listen no matter what level of distraction is present, because we take the best of both worlds and we mash them together, and that's balanced training. Thanks for watching. See you in the next section.